I used to think love could fix anything, that if two people cared about each other enough, they could overcome any barrier, even language. That's what I believed when I met her. Her name was Ayumi. She had the kind of smile that made you forget everything else. I was working in Tokyo back then, teaching English. I had only planned to stay a year. But that changed the moment I walked into the small bakery near my apartment and saw her behind the counter. She didn't speak much English. I didn't speak much Japanese. But we smiled at each other. A lot. And somehow that was enough, at least in the beginning. We started talking through translation apps. I'd type something in English. She'd laugh as her phone read it back in Japanese. She'd reply, and I'd struggle to understand. But we made it work. Over time, those awkward messages turned into long evenings, walks in the park, quiet dinners where we mostly just looked at each other and smiled. It felt like magic, like love didn't need words. But deep down, I wanted to share more. I wanted her to understand me completely, not just the easy parts, but everything. So I offered to teach her English. She was excited. She wanted to learn. Every evening after work, we'd sit together at my kitchen table. I'd go over basic phrases, write them out for her, explain the grammar. She was a fast learner, maybe too fast. At first, it was sweet. She'd point to things around the apartment and say their names. Chair, table, window. Sometimes she'd get things wrong and we'd laugh, like when she called a microwave a food television. I loved those moments. They made me feel close to her. But then things started to shift. She got better, quickly. Soon she didn't need the app anymore. She started watching English shows, reading English books, even correcting me sometimes. I was proud, but also nervous, because something about her was changing. She began asking more questions about my past, about things I had said months ago that she didn't understand at the time, but now did, and she remembered everything. One night, she asked about a message she'd seen on my phone. It was months old, from an ex-girlfriend back in the States. I had never replied to it, but Ayumi had seen the name. "Why didn't you tell me she texted you?" she asked. I froze, because it didn't matter. I didn't even answer. "But you didn't delete it either." I had no answer for that. I didn't even remember the message. But Ayumi did. Now that she could read everything, nothing was hidden. That's when I started to feel it. The shift. Before, our relationship had been simple, peaceful. We didn't speak the same language, so we couldn't fight. We couldn't ask hard questions. We couldn't talk about the past or about deep thoughts. But maybe that was a kind of safety. We just held hands, smiled, and enjoyed each moment. There was comfort in that quiet. I couldn't explain all my feelings in Japanese, and she couldn't explain Hayes in English. But it didn't matter. We found our own way to understand each other, through looks, through laughter, through silence. That silence felt warm. It felt like home. But now, things were different. Now she could speak English. She could understand me. All of me. The good parts and the not-so-good ones. The little things I used to say without thinking, she heard them now. She remembered them. She asked about them. And the questions didn't stop. She started joining online English groups. She joined video calls with people from other countries. She laughed with them. She listened to their stories. She made friends, real friends, with people I had never met. Some were men. Some were writers. Some were travelers. I told myself it was fine. I wanted her to grow. I wanted her to feel free. But something inside me began to change. I watched her becoming someone new. She walked taller, spoke faster, She smiled more often, but not always at me. She had more opinions now, more ideas. She asked big questions about life, about relationships, about the world. I loved her, but I also miss a quiet version of her, the one who looked to me for help, for answers. Now, she didn't look at me the same way. One evening, she came home later than usual. Her cheeks were red from the cold. Her eyes sparkled like she had just heard a beautiful song. "I met someone interesting today," she said. "An author. He writes short stories in English. He said I have a beautiful accent." I smiled. I really did. But inside, my stomach felt heavy. I nodded, said that's nice, but something inside me cracked a little. Just a tiny break. She wasn't doing anything wrong. She was only sharing her day. She was proud, excited, and I was afraid. Afraid she was slowly slipping away. I told myself I was being silly, that I was jealous for no reason, that I should be happy for her. I had taught her English so she could feel free, so she could connect with the world, so she could grow. And now she was doing all of that. I should have been proud, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I had given her wings. And now she was flying somewhere I couldn't follow. She started correcting my grammar. Tiny things. "Actually, you should say whom, not who," she said once, gently. She was right. I smiled, but it hurt a little. I wasn't the teacher anymore. She was catching up to me, maybe even passing me. We stopped using the translation apps. We could talk freely now, but somehow we also started talking less. Or maybe it just felt that way. We still sat together at dinner. We still went for walks. But the space between us felt wider. I couldn't explain it. It was like the words were there, but the warmth wasn't. Maybe she didn't need me like before. Or maybe I didn't know how to be close to this new version of her. Then came the quiet moment. The one I'll never forget. We were at a small cafe, one of our favorites. She was reading a book in English. Murakami, I think. She looked beautiful, like always, but different, stronger, older, further away. I reached across the table and said, "Remember when you didn't know how to say coffee?" She looked up and smiled, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. "I remember," she said, "but that feels like a long time ago." And just like that, I knew I wasn't her teacher anymore. I wasn't even really her partner. I was someone who helped her learn something new. I was the beginning of her journey, not the middle, not the end. A few weeks later, she sat me down in the apartment. She looked calm, not angry, not cold, just calm. Her eyes were soft, but serious. "I think we want different things now," she said. "And that's okay. But maybe it's time to let each other go." I didn't fight. I didn't cry. I just nodded. Because deep inside, I already knew it was coming. I had felt it for a long time. She packed her things slowly. She took her books, her notebooks, her English dictionary. She took her favorite mug and her sweater from the chair. But she left the small plant we bought together. It sat on the windowsill, looking lonely. When she closed the door behind her, the silence in the apartment was different. It wasn't warm anymore. It was cold. It was empty. And so was I. I still go to the bakery sometimes. The girl behind the counter is new. She doesn't speak much English. She smiles at me. I smile back. But I don't ask her name, because I've learned something important. Love needs more than smiles, more than words, more than lessons and translation apps. It needs understanding. It needs two people growing together, not apart. And sometimes, when you teach someone how to fly, you have to be ready to watch them soar away from you. I don't regret meeting Ayumi. I don't regret loving her. But sometimes, late at night, when I lie in bed and hear her voice in my mind, speaking perfect English, I ask myself, did I teach her English, or did I teach her how to leave me? I still think about her sometimes, usually when I hear someone speaking English with a soft accent, or when I see a couple sitting quietly in a cafe, smiling at nothing. Those moments pull me back. I wonder where she is now. Maybe she's traveling. Maybe she's writing her own story in her own words. Maybe she's teaching someone else the way I once taught her. I don't hate her. I never could. She didn't leave to hurt me. She left to find herself. And I've come to understand that's not something I could stop. Even if it broke my heart a little, it also helped me grow. For a long time, I blamed myself. I thought maybe I'd been too proud, too distant, too stuck in the past. I asked myself if I should have tried harder, held on tighter, spoken more gently. But over time, I've come to see it differently. Some people are meant to walk with us for a short part of our journey. They change us. They teach us. They open new doors. And then they keep walking because their path goes a different way. That doesn't make that time with us any less real or any less important. I gave her something valuable, and she gave something to me, too, a memory I'll carry for the rest of my life. Now, I live more quietly. I still love language. I still help people learn. But I also listen more than I speak. I notice the small things, the way someone's eyes light up when they understand a new word, or the way silence can sometimes say more than a sentence ever could. I think that's what a Yumi taught me without meaning to. She taught me that language isn't just about talking. It's about feeling, about connection, about timing. And sometimes it's about letting go when the words are no longer enough to hold two hearts together. If you ever fall in love with someone who is learning your language, be patient, be kind, help them, celebrate their small wins, but also be ready for change, for distance, for growth. Because love is not just about teaching someone to say, I love you. It's about understanding what they mean when they say goodbye. And if you ever have to let someone go, do it with love, quietly, gently, like turning the last page of a beautiful book, knowing the story is over, but thankful you got to read it at all.